Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasa Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktirabhavati Naishtike Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 13. Nature, the enjoyer, and consciousness. Actually, the connection between 12th and 13th chapter is that Lord has, in the 12th chapter, he has explained about the Bhakti Yoga and the qualities of his devotees. So now, he is explaining about the knowledge which is essential for devotees to rise above the material nature, to get rid of this material entanglement. One should possess this knowledge, and that has explained in chapter 30. So Arjuna, he starts with the questions. In this chapter, Arjuna is asking 6 questions to the Lordship. He wanted to know about 6 things. Arjuna Vacha Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetranyameva Cha Etam Veditum Ichchami Jnanam Neyam Chakeshava. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Idam Shariram Kaunteya Kshetradyam iti bhitiyate Etadyo vetti tam prahu Kshetradnya iti tadvidaha. Arjuna said, "O my dear Krishna, I wish to know about Prakriti, the material nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, and the field, and the knower of the field, and knowledge, and the object of knowledge." The Supreme Personality of a Godhead said, "This body, O son of Kunti, is called the field, and one who knows this body is called the knower of the field." Arjuna was inquisitive about Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, Kshetra, the field, Kshetrajna, its knower, and knowledge, and the object of knowledge. When he inquired about all these, Krishna said that this body is called the field of activity, and One who knows the body is the knower of the field. This body is the field of activity for the conditioned soul. The conditioned soul is entrapped in material existence and he attempts to lord it over material nature. And so, according to his capacity to dominate material nature, he gets a field of activity. That field of activity is the body. And what is the body? The body is made up of senses. The conditioned soul wants to enjoy sense gratification. And according to this capacity, his capacity to enjoy sense gratification, he is offered a body or a field of activity. Therefore, the body is called kshetra or the field of activity for the conditioned soul. Now, the person who identifies himself with the body is called kshetrajna, the knower of the field. It is not very difficult to understand the difference between the field and its knower. The body and the knower of the body. Any person can consider that from childhood to old age, he undergoes so many changes of body and yet is still one person remaining. Thus, there is a difference between the knower of the field and activities and the actual field of activities. A living conditioned soul can thus understand that he is different from the body. It is described in the beginning, Dehino Asmin, that the living entity is within the body and that the body is changing from childhood to boyhood and from boyhood to youth and from youth to old age. And the person who owns the body knows that the body is changing. The owner is distinctly Kshetrajna. Sometimes we think, I am happy, I am a man, I am a woman, I am a dog, I am a cat. These are the bodily designation of the knower. But the knower is different from the body. Although we may use many articles, our clothes, etc., we know that we are different from the things used. Similarly, we also understand by a little contemplation that we are different from the body. I or you or anyone else who owns the body is called Kshetrajna, the knower of the field of activities. And the body is called Kshetra, the field of activities itself. In the chapter 6, or in the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, the knower of the body, the living entity, and the position by which he can understand the Supreme Lord are described. In the middle 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Personality of a Godhead and the relationship between individual soul and super soul in regard to devotional service are described. The superior position of the Supreme Personality of a Godhead and the subordinate position of individual soul are definitely defined in these chapters. The living entity are subordinate under all circumstances, but in their forgetfulness they are suffering. When enlightened by pious activities, they approach the Supreme Lord in different capacities as the distressed, those in want of money, the inquisitive, and those in search of knowledge. That is also described. Now, starting with the 13th chapter, how the living entity comes into contact with the material nature and how he is delivered by the Lord through the different methods of fruitive activities, cultivation of knowledge, and the discharge of devotional service are explained. Although the living entity is a completely different from the material body, he somehow becomes related. This is this also is explained. So here in this purport, Prabhupada, he explains specifically about the person who is the knower of this kshetra. Actually, as we have studied in first 6 chapters, there is explanation about living entity and the Lord. Then next 6 chapters, starting from 7 to 12, there is explanation about how the living entity can get connected with the Lord through different processes. And now from 13th chapter, how the living entity comes into contact with the material nature and how he is delivered by the Supreme Lord through the different methods of fruitive activities, cultivation of knowledge and the devotional service that has explained. So now the cultivation of knowledge. What knowledge is required to get delivered from this material world is explained here. Like we have heard that we have to get out of this material world, but we should know what is this. So Arjuna is asking here, oh Lord, please let me know Prakritim, what is the nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, Kshetra, the field of activity, and Kshetrajna, who knows this field of activity. And Lord, in the next verse he says, Idam Shariram Kaunteya Kshetram iti abhidhiyate. This material body is known as a Kshetra, the field of activities. And as per our capacity, or whatever pious or impious credits that we have done, or we have got it as per our last birth activity, we are going to get this field of activities which is known as a kshetra. And the person who knows it, that this body is a kshetra, that person is known as a kshetrajna. As Lord has started his teachings of Bhagavad Gita from the first session of second chapter, right in the second text he says, Dehino asmin yata dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatranamuyati. He explains there, once you understand that he remains same but his body gets changed, his field of activity gets changed in this material, in this birth, so as in the after death also he gets the next body. So next field of activity. And that knower, which is known as a living entity, who is the owner of this kshetra, he possesses this material body. Like Prabhupada gives example for that. As we possess different clothes, same way we possess this body also. And as per the time, place and circumstances and karma that we have performed, we change it. Then in this purport, Prabhupada explains that first 6 chapters, the knower of the body, living entity, and the position by which he can understand the Supreme Lord are described. In the middle 6 chapters, the Supreme Lord, the Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Personality of a Godhead, and relationship between the individual soul and super soul, regard to devotional service, these points are explained. So now, from text 2 to 7, Lord is explaining about Kshetra and Kshetrajna. So now Kshetra is clear. Kshetra means field of activities which is known as this body. And Kshetrajna is the owner of the body, the living entity. Now Lord says in the third text, Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata kshetra kshetrajnayor jnanam yat jnanam matam mama. O sign of Bharat, you should understand that I am also the knower of all bodies. And to understand this body and its knower is called knowledge. That is my opinion. So, what is meant by knowledge that has explained by the Lord in this particular verse? While discussing the subject of the body and the knower of the body, the soul and super soul, we shall find three different topics of study: the Lord, the living entity, and matter. In every field of activities, in every body, there are two souls: the individual soul and super soul. Because the super soul is the plenary expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, Krishna says, I am also the knower, but I am not the individual knower of the body. I am the super knower. I am present in everyone's body as a Paramatma or super soul. As we know about this body, so Lord knows about all the bodies. Being a Paramatma, he stays in each and every body. So he knows everything about that. One who studies the subject matter of the field of activity and the knower of the field very minutely in terms of Bhagavad Gita can attain the knowledge. So here it is described what is meant by knowledge. Knowledge meant by to know the field of activities, to know the owner of this field, and the super soul, who is the knower of the all the bodies. So further, the Lord says, I am the knower of the field of activities in every individual body. Because he says here, Sarvasya chaham radhi sannivishto matta smriti jnanam aponam. As he stays in everyone's heart, so he knows what's going on with each and every individual. The individual may be the knower of his own body, but he is not in knowledge of the other's body. The Supreme Personality of a Godhead, who is present as the Super Soul in all bodies, knows everything about the all bodies. He knows all the different bodies of all the various species of life. A citizen may know everything about his patch of land, but the king knows not only his palace, but all the properties possessed by the individual citizen. Similarly, one may be the proprietor of the body individually, but the Supreme Lord is the proprietor of all bodies. The king is the original proprietor of the kingdom, and the citizen is the secondary proprietor. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is the supreme proprietor of all bodies. The body consists of the senses. The Supreme Lord is Rishikesha, which means the controller of the senses. He is the original controller of the senses. Just as the king is the original controller of the activities of the state, the citizens are secondary controllers. The Lord says, I am also the knower. This means that he is the super knower. The individual soul knows only his particular body. In the Vedic literature, it is stated as follows. Kshetrani hi sharirani bijam chapi shubha shubhe तानि वेत्ति स योगात्मा तथा क्षेत्रज्ञ उच्यते. This body is called the kshetra, and within it dwells the owner of the body and the Supreme Lord, who knows both the body and the owner of the body. Therefore, he called the knower of the all fields. The distinction between the field of activities, the knower of activities, and the supreme knower of the activities is described as follows. Perfect knowledge of the constitution of the body, the constitution of the individual soul, and the constitution of the super soul is known in terms of Vedic literature as Jnana. So here we can understand why Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says this material education is none other than avidya. Jada vidya jata mayara bhaivava jivera banaya gadha. So whatever modern education that we get it, that never gives us any explanation about this. And that's why in Vedic terminology, the knowledge means perfect knowledge of the constitution of this body, the constitution of the individual soul, and the constitution of a super soul is known in the Vedic literature as a jnana or knowledge. And if someone does not have this, that person is called ignorant. So he may be academically very big scholar, maybe PhDs or some delete, etc. But if he does not understand these three things, so as per the Vedic text, he is ignorant. And that is the opinion of Krishna. To understand both the soul and super soul as one it distinct is knowledge. One who does not understand the field of activity and the knower of activity is not in perfect knowledge. One has to understand the position of Prakriti, that is nature, Purusha, the enjoyer of nature, and Ishvara, the knower who dominates or controls nature and the individual soul. One should not confuse the three in their different capacities. One should not confuse the painter, the painting, and the easel. This material world, which is the field of activity, is nature, and the enjoyer of nature is the living entity. And above them both is the supreme controller, the personality of a Godhead. It is stated in the Vedic language in the Shveta Shvatara Upanishad, first chapter, 12th verse. Bhokta bhogyam preritaram chamatva sarvam proktam trividam brahmam etat. There are three Brahman conceptions. Prakriti is Brahman as the field of activities. And the Jiva, individual soul, is also Brahman and is trying to control material nature. And the controller of both of them is also Brahman. But he is the factual controller. In this chapter, it is also explained that out of the two knowers, one is fallible and other is infallible. One is superior and other is subordinate. One who understands the two knowers of the field to be one and the same contradicts the Supreme Personality of a Godhead, who states here very clearly, I am also the knower of field of activity. One who misunderstands a rope to be a serpent is not in knowledge. There are different kinds of bodies and there are different owners of the bodies, because each individual soul has its individual capacity for lording it over material nature. There are different bodies. but the Supreme also present in them as the controller. The word cha is significant, for it indicates that total number of bodies. That is the opinion of Sri Baladev Vidyabhushan. Krishna is the super soul present in each and every body apart from the individual soul. And Krishna explicitly says here that the super soul is the controller of both field of activities and the infinite enjoyer. Actually, sometimes what happens, this Mayavadis, they think that the super soul and soul is same. And that's why they say the both knower are the same. They know about this material body. But super soul is totally different. As they may quote this verse also from Shweta Shatra Upanishad, that Bhokta Bhogyam Preriratam Chamatva Sarvam Proktam Iti Trividam Brahmam Etad. So this material body, soul living in that and super soul, all are Brahman. So all are same. As per the one meaning of Brahman, which is pure, so everything is pure, but everything comes from the Lord. But in another capacities, if we see, the material nature is inert, even though it comes from a Brahman, but it is nature. Unless and unless it can come in touch with the consciousness, like an individual soul, it will not get activated. And unless and until Lord gives his permission, the soul will not get activated. So ultimately, knowledge means to know the interrelationship between the field of activities, the knower of the field, and the knower of the fields, who knows all the different bodies. So further in the fourth verse, now Lord is explaining tat kshetram yachayadruk chayad vikari yachayad sachayo tat prabhavasya tat samasena me shruna. Now please hear my brief description of this field of activity and how it is constituted, what its changes are, whence it is produced, who that knower of the field of activity is, and what his influences are. So Lord is explaining about the description of this field of activities, means about the body, then what it constitutes of, what it made up of, how it changes when it gets produced, who knows the field of activities, and what his influence on this body. Lord is describing the field of activities and knower of the field of activities in their constitutional position. One has to know how this body is constituted, the materials of which this body is made, under whose control this body is working, how the changes are taking place, where from the changes are coming, what the causes are, what the reasons are, what is the ultimate goal of the individual soul is, and what the actual form of the individual soul is. One should know the distinction between the individual living soul and super soul, their different influences, their potentials, etc. One just has to understand this Bhagavad Gita directly from the description given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And all this will be clarified. But one should be careful not to consider the Supreme Personality of a Godhead in every body to be one with the individual soul, the Jiva. This is something like equating the potent and the impotent. So again, Lord is explaining with clarity about individual soul, 13.4. About the individual soul, about the super soul, and about the material body. ऋषिभिर्बहुधा गीतं छन्दोभिर्विविधैः पृथक् ब्रह्मसूत्रस्पदश्चैव हेतुम् idam अभिवर्णिष्यतैः. The knowledge of the field of activities and of the knower of the activities is described by various sages in various Vedic writings. It is especially presented in Vedanta Sutra with all reasoning as to cause and effect. See, now Lord is explaining about where you can find about this knowledge. He says that Rishibir Bahuda Gitam. So many rishis they have spoke about it. Chandobir Vividayi Pratak Pratak. In different chandas and different meters they have spoken about this. And it is also explained in Brahma Sutra with cause and effect. Hetumabhihi. So again coming back to the point that what is mean by knowledge? Knowledge means which explains about this material body, the person who stays in the body, and the person who controls both this body as well as soul. Because soul tries to control the material nature, which is material body, and it has its own capacities. I can't control your body. So individual soul has a limitation up to his own material body. But super soul, he can control everyone's body. Being a supreme controller, he has that capacity to control bodies in all these species of life. But there is another one problem. There are some individuals, they consider themselves and the supreme controller as same. As Prabhupada says in previous verse, last purport line, that equating the potent and impotent, considering the Jiva and Paramatma is equal, is like considering the potent and impotent on the same level. Then Prabhupada says in this purport that the Supreme Personality of a Godhead, Krishna, is the highest authority in explaining this knowledge. Still, as a matter of course, learned scholars and standard authorities always give evidences from previous authorities. Krishna is explaining this most controversial point regarding the duality and non-duality of the soul and super soul by referring to a scriptures, the Vedanta, which is accepted as authority. First he says, this is according to different sages, Rishibhir Bahuda, and different sages they have spoke about it. As far as the sages are considered, beside himself, Vyasadeva, the author of Vedanta Sutra, is a great sage. And in the Vedanta Sutra, duality is perfectly explained. And Vyasadeva's father Parashara is also a great sage. And he writes in his books of religiosity, Aham Tvam Cha Tathanye, we, you, I, and the various other living entities are all transcendental, although in the material bodies. Now we are fallen into the ways of three modes of material nature, according to our different karma. As such, some are on higher levels and some are in lower nature. The higher and lower nature exists due to ignorance and are being manifested in an infinite number of living entities. But the super soul, which is infallible, is uncontaminated by the three qualities of nature and is transcendental. Similarly, in the original Vedas, a distinction between the soul, the super soul, and the body is made, especially in the Katha Upanishad. There are many great sages who have explained this, and Parashara is considered principal among them. The word Chandobhi refers to the various Vedic literatures. The Taittiriya Upanishad, for example, which is the branch of Yajurveda, describe the nature, the living entity, and the supreme personality of a god. As stated before, Kshetra is the field of activities, and there are two kinds of a Kshetrajna, the individual living entity and the supreme living entity. As stated in a Taittiriya Upanishad, Brahmapucham Pratishthaha. There is a manifestation of a Supreme Lord's energy known as Annamaya, depends upon food for existence. This is a materialistic realization of the Supreme. So now here, Prabhupada is explaining about the 5 different koshas that we have to understand. Because when we start to make progress in spiritual life, we need to know that which kosha we are in. Then we can understand our progress in spiritual life. So here the first kosha has explained, which is Annamaya. Then Pranamaya. After realizing the supreme absolute truth in a food, one can realize the absolute truth in the living symptoms of life forms. That is Jnanamaya. Realization extends beyond the living symptoms to the point of thinking, feeling, and willing. Then there is a Brahman realization called Vijnanamaya, and in which the living entity's mind and life symptoms are distinguished from the living entity himself. The next and the supreme stage is Anandamaya, realization of the all blissful nature. Thus, there are 5 stages of Brahman realization, which are called Brahma Pucham. Out of these first 3, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Jnanamaya, involves the fields of activities of the living entities. Transcendental to all the fields of activities is the Supreme Lord, who is called Anandamaya. The Vedanta Sutra also describes the Supreme by saying Anandamayo Abhyasat. The Supreme Personality of a Godhead is by nature full of joy. To enjoy his transcendental bliss, he expands into Vijnanamaya, Pranamaya, Jnanamaya, and Annamaya. In the field of activities, the living entity is considered to be the enjoyer and the different from the Anandamaya. That means that if the living entity decides to enjoy in dovetailing himself with the Anandamaya, then he becomes perfect. This is the real picture of the Supreme Lord as the supreme knower of the field, the living entity as the subordinate knower, and the nature of the field of activities. One has to search for this truth in the Vedanta Sutra and Brahma Sutra. So this is what one has to know actually. Understanding these 5 different koshas. Right now we are on what? Annamaya. Because we know Anna Purna Brahma. Because we are on the Annamaya kosha. So if we are hungry, unless and until we get something to eat, our mind is disturbed. It's very difficult to concentrate because still we are on the grossly bodily platform. So we have to quench our thirst, we have to satisfy our hunger. So as long as we are on that platform, we are on the Dehatma Buddhi. Second, it is explained that is Pranamaya. After realizing the supreme absolute truth in food, one can realize the absolute truth in the living symptoms or life form. And then we called it as a prana. Who is Lord? The most, you can live without water for 21 days. But can you live without air? So, Mukhya Prana, That is Lord Himself. So when you come to that level, when you come over thirst and hunger, then you subtly conquer your prana also through pranayama. Then you come to the stage of jnana. What is that jnana? That has explained here. Realizations extends beyond the living symptoms to the point of thinking, feeling and willing. That is jnanamaya or manomaya. Because on the level of a mind, we start thinking, feeling and willing. So that is called as a jnanamaya or manomaya. So when he crosses that and goes further, in which the living entity's mind and life symptoms are distinguished from the living entity himself, that is called Vijnanamaya. Living entity, the life air, and his own existence, which is totally different. Soul, as long as in this body, he needs that air. But once he gets out of this body, where is the question of pranayama and other things? So there, he crosses the manomaya stage also. And then he reaches at Vijnanamaya, where he starts thinking about his own relationship with the Lord. And then when he makes progress there, when he establishes his relationship with the Lord, then that stage is called Anandamaya. And that's why Lord has explained in the Vedic texts as Anandamaya Abhyasa, who is full of joy, who is full of bliss. Seems to be a bit complicated and technical, but need to be understood. Then only you will come to know where we are. Generally, years together, people they keep chanting only, but they never ponder on these points. Unless and until you know your position, you don't know what sort of a sadhana you are doing there. You need to know, you need to look back how long you have come and how further you have to go and what speed you have to maintain for that. So all these descriptions, they are given to understand this only. And that's why, see, starting of this chapter, if you go back, the 12th chapter explains about the devotional service, Bhakti Yoga. And Lord, especially, he explains about what? The qualities of devotees. And after that, what he is explaining? About the material nature. Seems to be a little strange, huh? After explaining devotional service, your relationship with the Lord, why do we need to know about this material nature? But Lord says it is essential to know because that will take you on the above the Dehatma Buddhi. Then you will, if you get this knowledge, then it's possible for you to get rid of this material entanglement. And devotee, he needs that. He needs to get out of this material entanglement, then only he can make further progress. And what are these entanglements? That has explained here in this purport. These 5 koshas. The first 3 one, that is on the kshetra, on the bodily platform. And next 2, they take you to the transcendental realm. Make some sense?
So, yeah, little question may not be that. When we talk about Bhakti Yoga, when we talk about devotion, you said that that is, if you get that, then nothing else is needed. But here we are saying that even if you are, even after explaining all devotional service, we are talking about the material nature and how it's 5 kosa. That means that the Bhakti Yoga is not enough. Even for devotees, he has to learn all this before he can be perfect.
To reach Bhakti Yoga, this is what needed.
So this is the prerequisite, not.
Yes, this pre-qualification to attend the devotional service of the Lord. This is what you know, then only you can situate on that platform. Look at the Bharat Maharaja's episode. He reached up to the Bhava stage, but again he fall down from there. What was that? He left everything. He was the emperor of whole earthly planet. And in his prime youth, he gave up the kingdom. And he just went to the forest and started devotional service. And he attended at that stage, which is known as the bhava, one stage less than the bhakti. He was so absorbed, but again he fell down. Because this knowledge is needed. Unless and until you know this, you can't get rid of this material entanglement. It's very complicated, this material nature. It's not that easy to understand. The intricacy of modes of material nature is so complicated. Even Kavayo api atra mohita. Even big scholars who knows Vedas, who has written
Commentaries.
commentaries as well as their own sutras in different chandas and different Upanishads, they also get bewildered. Why? Because of lack of this knowledge. And that's why Lord is explaining right now.
So last birth, you made a mistake.
Definitely, that's why we have got this body. Why person goes to jail? Because he has committed some crime. Otherwise, who goes? Any gentleman or any saint man, they send them into jail?
No, but here there are a lot of instances where they want to go back because of they can't survive.
Who?
A lot of people here, they
See, you don't take it word to word. I'm giving just
Yeah.
this analogy just to understand that we have committed some crime, some sin. That's why we are imprisoned in this material body, which is not our nature. Because we are Anandamaya Abhyasa. We have to be in a bliss.
but people don't realize that this is also a big jail.
That's the problem, because this knowledge is lacking. Na? Because we don't consider ourselves as a soul, we consider ourselves as a body. I am American, I am Indian, I am Gora, I am Kala, I am Hindi, I am Gujarati. Why? Because still we are identifying ourselves as a body. It's very tough to get rid of this bodily platform. Even if you take sannyas also, that I is prominent. I am sannyasi. That misidentification with the body is there. That's why Mahaprabhu says, na, how you can make progress in spiritual life? Naham varani nacha. What he says? Naham varani nacha napati na grahasto yatirva. Neither I am a kshatriya, neither I am a brahmana, neither I am a shudra, neither I am a grahastha, neither I am sannyasi, neither I am vanaprasthi, nor a brahmachari. But who am I? Gopir bhartur pada kamalayor dasa dasana dasa. That's my real identity. So irrespective of our bodily identification, if we know ourselves as a servant of Lord, that's the perfection of life. And the whole Krishna consciousness is meant for that. To make you realize that your real identity is none other than the servant of servant of servant of servant.
Plus, we spend 1/3 of our life or more in jail, in sleeping. Maybe in the sleeping. 1/3 of
Ignorance. That is called as a darkness. Sleep means ignorance. That's why the person who makes a tremendous spiritual advancement, automatically his sleep goes away. He becomes Gudakesha. That reduces. The bodily demand for the sleep automatically reduces. Because he is above the mode of ignorance. Why we feel tired? And because it's ignorance. Nothing else. So how we can make even small judgment about our progress in spiritual life? If we are trained to take more and more rest and feeling more and more tired and taking sleep, consider you in the mode of ignorance. The person who is in the mode of goodness, the first thing is that he never falls asleep, especially in the classes. Other places it's okay.
What was just going by this line? The kids, they are, kids are innocent. In the sense that they are not even good at person.
See, they are called as a pashu. Small kids, up to the age of 5, they are called as an animal only. Because they can't do anything by their own. They are just following the modes of material nature. When they feel hungry, they cry. We have to make it out whether he is hungry or something has come and bite him, because they can't express anything. They are like animals only. That's why it is said that you have to take care of at least at the age of a 5. Till the age of a 5, you should take care of them. Nowadays, you are slaughtering them at the 2.5 only, sending them away from you, schools on the name of education and everything. You are killing your own kids. It works. We can see that. Then now Lord is explaining about what this body made up of, produced of. Mahabhutanyahangkaro buddhir avyaktamev cha indriyani dashayikam cha pancham chendriya gocharaha ichha dvesha sukham dukkham sa anghatashetana dhriti etat kshetram samasena savikaram udaritah. The 5 great elements: false ego, intelligence, the unmanifested, the 10 senses and the mind, the 5 sense objects, desire, hatred, happiness, distress, the aggregate, the life symptoms and convictions. All these are considered in summary to be the field of activities and its interaction. So this body is made up of Panchamahabhuta. Gross body, subtle body, buddhi, ahankar and mind. Okay. How it gets entangled? Through panchatanmatras, shabda, rasa, rupa, sparsha, gandha. These are the object for the senses. The knowledge acquiring senses is known as a jnanendriya. Which jnana they get? They get jnana about the object. What is the object? Shabda, rupa, rasa, sparsha, gandha. Time, frame, form, taste, then touch. So these are the tanmatras. So Gyanendriyas depends on tanmatras, and they entangle this jiva in this particular body. So this is what about field and field of activities. From all the authoritative statements of the great sages, the Vedic hymns and the aphorisms of the Vedanta Sutra, the components of this world can be understood as follows. Listen carefully. This is what the generation of, or the creation step by step has explained here. The first, there are earth, water, fire, air and ether. These are 5 great elements called as a Mahabhuta or Pancha Mahabhuta. Then there are false ego, intelligence and unmanifested stage of the 3 modes of nature. Then there are 5 senses for acquiring knowledge: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin. Then 5 working senses, karmendriya: voice, legs, hands, anus, genitals. Then above these senses there is the mind, which is within and which can be called the sense within. Therefore, including the mind, there are 11 senses altogether. Then there are 5 objects of the senses, which is known as a Pancha Tanmatra: smell, taste, form, touch and sound. Now the aggregate of this is 24. These are 24 elements from which this material world has created. These 24 elements is called the field of activity. If one makes an analytical study of these 24 subjects, then he can very well understand the field of activity, the whole material nature. Then there are desire, hatred, happiness and distress, which are interactions, representations of the 5 great elements in the gross body. The living symptoms represented by the consciousness and conviction. The living symptoms, represented by consciousness and conviction, are the manifestation of the subtle body, mind, ego, and intelligence. These subtle elements are included within the field of activities. It's crystal clear now. What is field of activities? What it constitutes of, and how it works also. The five great elements are gross representation of the false ego, which in turn represents the primal stage of a false ego, technically called the materialistic conception or tamasa buddhi. In child world, this is what prominent, tamasa buddhi. Intelligence in ignorance. This further represents the unmanifested stage of the three modes of material nature. The unmanifested modes of the material nature are called as pradhan or mahat. One who desires to know the 24 elements in detail along with their interaction should study the philosophy more detail in Bhagavad Gita. As a summary only is given. In the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it deals with this particular topic about the, third canto, about the 24 elements of material nature. The body is the representation of these factors, and there are changes of the bodies, which are 6 numbers. So there are 6 different stages or changes in this material body. What are they? First, it gets born, birth. Okay. Second, it grows. Third, it stays. Fourth, it produces. Then, fifth, it decays. And last, it vanishes. So first is like a janma, then vriddhi, sthiti, srijan, kshaya, and vinash. These are 6 changes in the body. Therefore, the field is non-permanent material thing because it goes under these stages. But it never happens with the soul. It happens only with the body. However, the kshetrajna, the knower of the field, its proprietor is totally different. So first, from text number 2 to 7, Lord is explaining about Jiva, the living entity, the knower of the field, and field. So knower of the field is totally different from the field because field undergoes 6 changes. Living entity never goes under that 6 changes because he is being the part and parcel of the Lord. He is eternal. He does not have that birth. He does not have that vriddhi. He does not have that sthiti. He does not have that reproduction. Neither decay or never diminishes or never vanishes. So here we will stop and we will start with the next 2 topics, hopefully tomorrow evening. Any question?
This chapter, I also discussed a couple of times that this chapter is something which requires a lot of understanding and a lot of time.
That's why Lord, after explaining the nature of soul and the Lord, then their relationship and how you can establish, then he has touched this technical part. So he has prepared your mind to understand what real essence is there. This is nothing but the Vedanta Sutras, because this is what has explained in Vedanta Sutras in detail. So that's what Prabhupada says in the purport, that in summary it has given in the Bhagavad Gita. But if you are really seeker of knowledge, then you should read the other philosophy also, which is there in Vedanta Sutras. Which is there in Vedanta Sutras, Brahma Sutras, or Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which is the natural commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the natural commentary on Vedanta Sutra. So we'll come to know everything. Okay?
What is perplexing to me is where this thought comes from.
Or Again, these 24 elements, the Mahat Tattva.
At least they were there forever and ever and ever.
They are there in the Lord's body. No? When there is a pralaya, everything just goes in the course of the Lord's body. And from there again it comes. Bhutva bhutva praliyate. It again and again and again it comes and get destroyed, and again it goes in the body of Mahavishnu. Whenever there is a next creation, it comes out of his body. That's why in one sense it is called as a Brahman, because it goes in the Lord's body and comes out again. It never gets destructed.
So his body must be really big.
Really big? From his pores, millions of Brahmandas comes out. We are in the tiniest Brahmanda. Tiniest. In the galaxy, there are millions of Brahmandas.
But the thing is, all this material thing which we're touching it, right? It needs space.
Yes?
His body must be really, really big to do accommodate.
And people wanted to see him. I want to see God. You can't see your hand if it is too close to your eyes. Can you see that big vast?
It's the space.
That's why in our childhood they used to ask, you want to see God? First see the Akash, the sky. If you are able to see the whole Akash at one glance, you can you can be able to see the Lord. You can't. Can you? If you go at the horizon, it's wide. You can't. At one glance, you can't see the whole horizon. Can you? Then what to speak of the Lord?